You guys we're live. Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Do we have Gert?
Nope.
Nope.
I demand Gert.
He's getting ready. He
You
helped
want
some
Gert.
old lady whose car was broken down at church.
I don't give a shit about some old lady.
Keeping up the tradition of controversial stuff at the top of the show.
Who she thinks she is getting in the way of what we're trying to accomplish here?
Old people are a liberal conspiracy. Everybody dies at 45. Everybody knows that.
Sure.
It's just used to expand the welfare state.
Exactly. Justify
Yes.
their social security. We know where that money's going.
Oh,
Lizard people.
So true.
And the fake birds and Bill Gates
I was
microchips.
gonna say, the birds are watching us.
How do you think Bill Gates gets his microchips inside of us?
Hmm.
At this point, I mean, if you can't connect the dots, you're an idiot.
I mean, that might be true, one way or the other.
Should we just sit on this like nice little exterior shot of the guild?
I think so.
Maybe
It's
this is
delightful.
all we need. Guys just want to chit chat.
Yep.
So I thought about, I don't know, I feel a little bit weird, like not recording any of this shit that I wrote down, but I think I'm just not going to. Anyways, so brief recap while we're waiting for Gert. The city was on fire. You guys were woken up by Marin, who basically called for an emergency meeting of all of the squads that were available and all of the masters that were around, and basically sent everybody out in different directions around the city to mitigate as much damage as possible. Arvine and Epikai went to aid Zook at the city, at City Hall in protecting Miliardo, where a fight ensued. See the story for all of that. Lion Squad and Gopher Squad actually both participated in kind of working on the street level and helping Old Town, saving people, rescuing folks. And you guys were tasked with going and attacking the cult head on in the lowest level of the sewers, as Dragon Squad and some other guild members stayed on the inside and basically kept them from coming in. As you could tell from the story, your guys' efforts to fight them, kind of coming from behind them, was what enabled Dragon Squad and the other guild masters to escape and survive, and so you guys played an instrumental role in basically keeping everything going and keeping everybody alive. You guys went into the sewers, you fought the cultists, and were victorious in a very intense back and forth. Anna went down, Damon went down, not sure if DeMarcus ever went down, Johoff, Isolda, I mean, basically everybody had their turn being unconscious. Through some miraculous moments, intervention from her god, Isolda was able to come back to life and literally save like 5 people in 2 rounds. This moment, coupled with the rest of your group's key tactical and critical attacks, really, were able to pull the fight through, and you guys defeated this Skull Lord and were able to kind of bring this cult mess to a close in Mossstone. As you rose out of the sewers, you basically found yourself in the midst of a scene Tetherman, basically claiming the staff of Wilds that his father had once owned, and becoming the new Archdruid of Mossstone in a very ceremonial display in front of kind of the rubble and ruins and kind of beat up people of Mossstone all gathered around. And that's kind of where we left off. Though I did provide you with a brief epilogue of things that are sort of unfolding, and I wanted to sort of ask if there was anything you guys wanted to do quick. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of throw us into a mild award ceremony and speech by Marin at the guild.
Can I ask like a clarifying question?
Sure.
Is the stuff in the epilogue common knowledge to us, including like the stories, like we know what happened with Joel and all that?
Yeah, so the idea is that eventually, over the next few days, all of this information is disseminated. So you guys can act as if you knew what happened or heard what happened. I'm sure Miliardo is telling his story, and the guildmasters are telling their stories. So, yeah, I mean, aside from slight, personal information from their characters, which I didn't do too much of, that should all be pretty much common knowledge, assuming enough time has gone past. So, at this very moment, your characters might not have information about that, but the assumption is that as time passes, you'll all gain that information.
Okay.
Well, we don't need to roleplay this or anything like that. I just want to go on the record as saying that Johoff would pretty much immediately go find Cass and Big Pete to make sure they're all right once he came about.
Yeah, so Johoff just immediately going back towards the Lee Wind would find Big Pete and Cass sort of tending to the wounded and kind of caring for the people in the local area, using the Lee Wind sort of as a place of refuge, where people who have lost their homes are kind of like staying the night, and that kind of stuff. Anybody else have stuff they want to do?
Marcus is mostly spending a lot of time working out and praying in the Hall of Gods and doing more reading than anyone would have seen.
I meant mostly like on between this and going back to the guild. Sorry.
He's working out on the way to the guild. Then,
yeah, he's pumping. He's like doing like overhead presses with his maul.
Doing good.
Good stuff. Okay. Well then, if not, we will go to that scene. Let me pull up my notes. Okay, so as you guys are sort of summoned back towards the guild, there's sort of an assembly, and there's all of the guild masters, at least the ones remaining alive, and all of the parties are sort of joined up. You've been kind of asked to gather. Maybe Marin sent out a message telling you guys to report back to the guild once you've completed your mission. And Enna and Evander returned to the guild and sort of filled in Marin on what happened. So you guys don't have to explain yourselves. And they'll be sending down people to handle the bodies and sort of clean up the sewers. So all of that sort of bureaucratic stuff you guys don't have to worry about. Instead, after kind of enough people have come back from their missions, all kind of like covered in blood and soot and ash, all looking kind of beat up, but there's kind of this optimism in the air. You guys have won. You guys defeated the cult in its multi-pronged attack on the city, and for the most part did so sparing as many lives as possible. And as you gather, is there anything you want to do or say before Marin starts to speak? Okay. Marin sort of has this look of cheer, and yet there's sort of this look that he's acknowledging that a lot was lost in order for this win to take place. And he turns to the rest of you and says, "This night we pushed back the darkness which threatened to cover this entire city. We halted the destruction and chaos which threatens the lives of all we hold dear. Many lives were lost and much blood was spilt, but when the sun rose upon Mostone this day, it rose upon a city purified of the cult of Sirik." Vosner, I can hear myself in your mic.
Yeah, okay.
He continues. "Epidkai fell bravely, fighting to protect City Hall. He will be remembered as a loyal servant of a Monitor, a guardian of Mostone, a master of the guild, and as a friend. As the sun rises upon this humble city, a new day begins for Mostone and for the guild. In exchange for our aid in saving Mostone, the Queen has already agreed to fund our exploits internationally and to deal with cult uprisings in conjunction with the other allied nations across Toril. Do not be mistaken. What we face tonight is only a small fragment of a larger force which seeks to spread darkness over these lands. While we were victorious this night, we should anticipate a long and difficult path ahead of us. Although there was no short supply of heroism last night, there were a few shining moments that deserve attention and awards." And at this moment, Chandri walks up to him and hands him a cloth that has some items in it, and he puts it in his hands. And he turns to Lion Squad and says, "Gerda, for protecting the guild and holding the line against the cultists as they attacked from many angles, I award you a Ring of a Monitor and the title of Squad Captain." And she kind of like steps forward a little bit. And he turns to Gopher Squad. He says, "Legos, for securing Old Town and orchestrating the rescue of hundreds of civilians, I award you the Ring of a Monitor and the title of Squad Captain." And he walks forward and bows. He turns to Dragon Squad. "Leah Nightbreeze, for protecting the guild and from the assault on the lowest levels against all odds, I award you the Ring of a Monitor and the title of Squad Captain." And she turns to Bear Squad. "Lastly, Isolde, for saving the lives of your companions, as well as Anna and Evander, and for leading your squad to victory against the Skull Lord, I award you the Ring of a Monitor and the title of Squad Captain." What do you do?
Thank you. Thank you, Master Merin. And I'll just bow to him and collect it and step back like the others did.
Okay. So you now have a Ring of a Monitor, which I will, I'll throw it in your inventory 1 second.
Thank you.
There you go. And he turns to the rest of you and says, "Going forward, our quests will increase in complexity. The scope will increase in magnitude, and you will be asked to travel much farther than you've ever traveled before. And yet, I have faith that you will do it, and you will do it with success. However, you have achieved a great accomplishment today, and I believe that warrants awards and rest. For the next 3 weeks, you are all on leave. Please use this time wisely to recover from whatever experience or whatever maligns you at this moment, and to recenter yourselves This is also a moment to reconsider your contract with the guild. I anticipate that not everyone here is interested in carrying out the further mission of the guild, and if that is the case, you will not be faulted for leaving. If you do stay, however, know that your training will continue, and the guild will continue to pay out for contracts in accomplishment of your goals. Are there any questions? And he kind of turns to the rest of the guild masters, who are all kind of looking on you guys pretty proud. I mean, they're all basically your teachers, and a lot of them struggled in the fight this night, and they're all kind of participating in this victory as well. And he turns to all of you collectively and says, "Very well. Get some rest. This city will require a lot of work to be rebuilt." And he excuses you. And is there anything you'd like to do before going to the barracks?
I'll go up to Chandri kind of as everyone is dispersing and just tell her that I'm glad that she's safe and, you know, that most of the masters made it through.
She nods and says, "Thank you, Isolde. I am happy that you are safe as well. It seems that Ilmater was watching over you."
Yes, it was, I'm not fully sure what to think of it yet, but it was good to hear his voice.
I understand.
And I'll go back and join the group.
At the group, you find Vosner, Demarcus, Terran, Damon, Missile, and little Mortimer all beat to shit. All of you exhausted, covered in blood and muck. Some of it washed away by the rain, but most of the rain had died down by the time you guys exited the sewers, so you're all pretty gross.
I could definitely use some rest. Whatever those shadow things did to us, I feel a bit dead on my feet.
Out of character. I know that I'm a little late. Did you explain where Tetherman was?
Oh, Tetherman's here, standing behind Marin with his new staff, his skin coated in bark.
Cool. Vosner will go up to Tetherman and say, I know death is natural, but this is a pretty big loss even for me. I can only imagine what it's like for you, Master. But I'm proud to have met him and be taught by you both.
He sort of pauses, and you find that his face is almost a little bit harder to read now that it's coated in a thin layer of bark. And he kind of like puts the staff down, and like even in this room with marble floors, the like roots of the staff started like intertwine themselves into the floor through breaking through the marble, and that drops the bark from his face, and he says, "I understand. I appreciate what you did, and I appreciate the conversations you had with my father. It is a great loss for Mostone, but I hope to continue his legacy."
I ask, will you be the new Archdruid as well as the master of the guild, or is that something? Is there something more that needs to be done?
Well, I haven't discussed it with Marin yet. The obligations of being the Archdruid are numerous, and the requirements for being a guildmaster are also, well, numerous. So it is possible that Theron of Dragon Squad will be promoted to the Druid Master here at the guild. Yes, so that doesn't mean I won't be around to talk to. I still probably will be located out of this building, and so I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but
Valser says, I understand it's much too early to discuss larger things, but in that moment he presents to Tetherman a small thing of flowers and says, we return to the earth so other things may live. So
indeed. And he takes the flowers from you.
Awesome. That's it. That's all he's got.
He says, go get some rest, Fosner. You've earned it.
Thank you.
At this moment, I want Damon to make a history check and Missile to make a history check. Assuming Missile is back.
Yeah, hang on, I need to check something. No.
Okay, so collectively, Missile, you remember that Damon described something down on the 6th floor. When he was describing the 6 wizards to you, he told you of a man named Talatunus who carried a staff that, when holding it, turned his skin into bark. And all of a sudden, you see Tetherman grab his staff, and the bark on his skin turn into a soft bark, and it kind of hits you that matches the description that Damon had recently gave while you guys were on the 6th floor of the guild.
Is Tetherman, where's he standing? Oh, right there?
Yeah.
With a total lack of awareness of social protocol, Missile would probably kind of like just reach out and reach out towards the staff without actually taking it, but kind of eagerly reach out towards the staff.
Okay.
And then he might catch himself and say, may I borrow that staff?
And Tetherman will look at you and say, I don't think so, unless you plan on becoming the Archdruid of Mossstone after me.
Missile would chuckle and say, oh, no. It's just that, well, that staff seems to be the staff of Talatunus.
The staff of who? And Marin is now sort of kind of looking over, having heard you say that name out loud, and he approaches and says, perhaps this conversation is best had behind closed doors.
Missile looks confused, but doesn't push the issue.
Tetherman is confused as well.
Missile would probably also kind of look eagerly around at the rest of the squad, just assuming that they have put 2 and 2 together as well, even if they may not have.
Yeah, I would say if the rest of you could make an intelligence check to see if you put it together or not.
Taryn has not.
Love it.
Taryn chooses to fail.
It's like legendary resistance, but legendary roleplay ability checks.
Vosner is too tired to care.
Fair enough. Yeah, Isolde, even in your sleepiness, you remember the story that Damon recently just told, the descriptions he gave of the people. And yeah, you and Damon are now getting what Missel's talking about.
Perhaps we should all go down to the lower levels to discuss this.
Missile eagerly nods his head up and down.
And Varen sees you guys talking and says, "When you have a moment, come see me in my study. We can discuss it there."
You would prefer not today?
We have lots to do today. There's much to take care of. There is no rush.
Understood.
You guys want to go to the barracks?
Yeah, I think so.
After they go to the barracks and after like this ceremony kind of disperses, Taryn is gonna go out with the staff from the Skull Lord and show it to Marin. And,
Evander definitely collected that.
okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, but if you want to talk to him about it, you definitely can.
He does want to, but not now.
Got it. Okay, yeah, so standard move, Johoff is in the corner even though he's not actually here. And you guys come back. Oh, too many musics playing at the same time. Okay. You guys walk down the stairs and find a very enticing looking room full of lots of comfy beds. A nice little fire is lit in the fireplace. And if you check your chests, each one of you has an additional 100 guild coins.
Sweet.
Dope.
Oh, I also added a potion of superior healing that you guys found in Bill Thorne's room, and 15 bars of gold, which you also found in his room.
Is that one ballista's worth of gold?
No, each bar of gold is worth about 50 gold, so it's not like a billion.
So it's 750 gold? Wait. That's not right.
If you sell it somewhere.
Isolde would immediately, set down her big shield and take the plate armor parts off of her armor. Because she is feeling a bit weak.
Yeah. As you do, you see all of these wounds and bruises and, cuts from the battle. You guys all look pretty fucked up.
What is the bathroom shower situation at the guild?
It is the standard fantasy trope of there are no such things as bathrooms, but it's still you have to eat. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just assume that there are individual showers with running fresh water and bathrooms around that you can snag. But the bathroom is always occupied by some motherfucker in Gopher Squad who takes forever, and you're you're so small. How does it? No, it's always available.
Yeah, Demarcus is just kind of doffing armor, and he's just very quiet, and he's also VTEL, so he's about to pass out.
Would Damon feel like his armor is in need of repair at all?
I would say like minor repairs, but like not. It would be things that like you might tend to in the same way that they, like recover from getting injured. Maybe you're like on a long rest going through and like tinkering with like little parts that broke in the fight.
Yeah, it's just if it was like in need of major repair, I would probably spend time to take it off and hand it over to Missile.
Oh yeah, no, it's nothing that bad.
Oh,
But Missile can help you, with your repairs too if you want.
Missile, do you notice any significant aberrations in my armor?
he runs over and inspects very, very closely, and I guess he'd take out his tinker tools and kind of patch you up here and there.
I would appreciate any assistance you can provide. I am running low on energy.
Hmm.
I don't think there's anything clever I can do. Let me see here. Yeah, no, he'd just take his tools and hammer here and screw here, and maybe Mortimer would come in and help out too, clamoring around you, loosening tight screws and whatnot.
Precious.
That feels significantly better already. I suppose at this point it is just a matter of resting and recharging.
Missile blushes, but his face is too covered in soot and you can't quite see it.
Thank you, Master Missile.
He looks taken aback that you called him master, but he says nothing and kind of like a child saunters back to his bed. At that point, Missile would take out a book on ancient magic staffs and start reading it. And if you were close, you would hear the sound of a crackling fire emitting from the book, but obviously nothing is on fire.
Isolde is intrigued with that again. She likes the books that make noises.
Taryn has already passed out.
Hmm.
Okay. If you guys want to play it, you guys just go to bed, then that's fine. We can do a long rest. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to do.
The only thing I would say is that Damon waits until he sees the new captain Isolde go to sleep before he would shut down. And then because he has 2 points of exhaustion, he would, unless roused, he would basically charge for twice as long as normal.
Got it. Just for mechanics wise, the way we're gonna do exhaustion, the way we do exhaustion with human players is that it takes a full rest in like a really nice place in order to get a point of exhaustion back. I think that's still going to apply to Damon, and I think there's still going to be limitations on how long you can sleep. So you can't just sleep 16 hours and get rid of 2 points of exhaustion. Because the fear would be like you guys would go someplace and just like sleep for 24 hours straight, which seems pretty like unlikely and kind of weird. So anyways, it still just takes a number of days. I like the idea of having the exhaustion take days to totally overcome.
Makes a lot of sense.
So anyways, anybody...
What are the rules
Oh, yeah.
for our... I know Taryn and I both took strength damage.
You
Is that just
regain
like
1 strength from that strength damage per day
Okay.
until
We
it's
can
all
still
gone.
go about our business during the day, or is it kind of like a stay close to home and take it easy kind of thing?
It depends on how much you lost. If you were down to 1 strength, I would say you were bedridden. If you were at, if you were, still at 14 or something, you're fine.
Okay.
But you might, have a hard time carrying a tray of expensive, heavy things up a flight of stairs or something. You're basically elderly right now. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Ew.
Ew.
Strong forever.
Nice. That's our take here on the elderly in this stream.
Really coming up.
A lot of ageism today in this.
Oh yeah,
Yep. Yep.
we're trying to get all those Twitch viewers. That's what gets them. Okay.
Alright.
So everybody can do a long rest and regain your hip points and your spell slots.
Dang.
And
Hit points down.
you wake up a little bit better than you were yesterday. Still, some of you have some pretty deep bruises and, which we're kind of explaining as points of exhaustion and stuff. And you're a little bit weathered, but you're feeling much better. And you basically just slept in the middle of the day, I guess, is how we're doing that. So it's now like the evening of the following day. Your sleep cycle's all fucked up.
Classic.
Marcus is gonna go to the mess hall and eat a bunch of food.
That sounds dope.
For the record, in the middle of the day, all of your chests were filled with additional guild coins, and in Isolda's chest there is a note from Miliardo saying thank you, and a envelope full of 10 paper birds. Which are the letters that you can fold up and send to anybody. And all of you have 150 guild coins. So you had 100 from Marin for having done the big thing, and 50 what each of you gets 50 what Miliardo owed you for the previous quest. So I just want you guys to all note that you have that. If you haven't already added that 100, just add 150 to your guild coins.
Got it. Yeah, I will go and eat something in the mess hall.
Okay.
Karen will go too.
Now I feel shitty for having deleted the mess hall from this scene. Okay, so there is no mess hall scene anymore because I deleted it. So
It's okay.
anyways, so I just assume you're in the mess hall, eating.
Vosner follows the group out to the mess hall too. And I guess on the way, or when we sit down, I sit next to Taryn, and I say that, I've been thinking about the time that we'll have over the next couple weeks. And I was wondering if you had any desire of maybe tracking down one of the dragons that we know about, and I don't know, seeing what happens.
Taryn looks at you and says, I want to talk to Evander about it first, to get his blessing, but I was hoping to look for the bronze dragon that overlooks the bay, and see if I can find him and learn anything from him over the break.
Vosner would remember the explanation of the bronze dragon. He was present for that conversation, right, with Marin, I think.
Isolde asked about
Isolde
it?
told everyone.
Got it.
Yeah.
But
that
Taryn
Rexy
wasn't
was the
when it
bronze dragon.
happened, so he is unaware.
Right. Right.
I would say, so you'll be looking for Rusty. Isolde told us, we actually kind of met him when we were sailing back from Gunderland. So if you'd like to have a partner, I'd be happy to come.
Rusty is the bronze dragon, the dwarf from the boat.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Taryn is just like surprised by this information, like borderline shocked. So we've already met him.
Yeah, he's familiar with us, and I think he was quite impressed.
Yeah, I would. That would be great if you wanted to come along.
I would love to. Just let me know what the masters say, and I'll be with you.
All right, well, I definitely will. And like, he's like a weird mix of like visibly exhausted still, and also like incredibly excited.
I assume we can hear this conversation.
Yeah.
Vosner just kind of smiles to himself, kind of happy that he could make his friend a little bit happier.
That sounds like a very nice adventure. I am honestly a little surprised. I kind of figured that maybe you would go home and see your family, Taryn.
Out of game question. About how long has this been happening? Like, have we been in the guild?
I'd say maybe we're looking at 5 months.
Taryn kind of shrugs and says, traditionally we go out for a year. So if I return now, it would be kind of early and kind of like admitting a failure that I couldn't be on my own. And he kind of shrugs.
Marcus kind of jumps in and he says, even though you've accomplished such great things in this time?
He kind of shrugs again and says, they may not look down on me given what's been happening, but it would still not kind of go against tradition.
I understand.
Do
you want to go home?
What was that?
Do you miss home? Do you want to go back?
Eventually, I guess.
What do you miss about it?
It's nice, like, everyone gets along, my family's there, but it's also, after this, you know, I don't know if I could go back and stay.
Indeed. These kinds of adventures change you, and sometimes you're not the same person as when you left.
Yeah.
You think they'll welcome you back?
He like starts to nod. Like, it's obvious they would, but then he kind of catches his reflection in like a bowl or something. And kind of sees the green specks. But he catches himself and goes, yeah, I think they would.
Maybe someday we can accompany you there.
Yeah, maybe so.
I was looking at DeMarcus's face when he said that these adventures change us and sometimes we aren't the same person that we were. And I'm just gonna make a mental note and kind of return to what I was, you know, drinking and eating.
It would have been fairly transparent that he was talking about himself.
Yep. She's very insightful. And, DeMarcus, what were you planning on doing during our time on leave?
Well, if the Queen is sending an envoy here to help rebuild the city, I will likely be spending my time hiding from the people that I know from Dharma.
Understandable. I stand by what I said in the Hall of Gods. I think you are foolish to be so close to the thing you are running from.
What would you suggest I do?
I would not have come here if I were you. I would have been much further up the coast by now. But, like you said, you are, maybe not trying to run forever.
I don't think that the things that I'm running away from will change with any kind of mileage, Isolde.
Understandable. Is it hard to know that they are here and you can't see them?
Yes. What will you do with your time off?
I will probably lend my help to the city to rebuild from the fire. And train with Chandri when I can, but my main concern is not moving on to the next part of our journey without making sure that we leave Mostone as well as we can.
Sounds like the right way to spend our time.
Yes, if you'd like to join me, it would be nice.
Yes, if you think it's a good idea, I will join you however you see fit, and I would happily do so. Congratulations on being the squad leader now. I think we need it, and you'll do a good job of it.
Thank you.
Whatever you need from me, just tell me what to do.
I will. Thank you. And we will try to keep out of sight of people while we are doing the rebuilding. It will certainly be dirty work, so I assume you won't look like the shiny paladin that left the Queen's Court.
It looked like that for a long time.
Taryn will congratulate Isolde on being a squad leader to being made captain as well.
Thank you, Taryn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that it's official now.
It feels strange to have it be official, but I think I'm ready for the responsibility. So I will keep doing what I have been doing.
Yeah. You saved all of us back there with your healing, so it seems appropriate that you are the one who leads us in name as well now.
I appreciate that. I definitely think that that is correct to some extent, but I have to say the spell that you cast, the sphere of energy that you cast that essentially dissipated the shadows, was, I think, a turning point. There were a number of cases where there were enemies before me, and it was hard to keep sight of you all, and it was like they dissolved. Even the one that attacked me, and it would have been much harder if I had to change focus and fight it, but it hit me, and your spell dissolved it. So, thank you as well.
Taryn looks appreciative and says, I'm happy to help, especially as all of our powers grow.
Yes, you have become very powerful. I don't mean to say anything against your teacher, but the presence of a sorcerer in that fight was you.
Taryn kind of glows a little bit.
Vosner raises his mug and nods because his mouth is full of root vegetables, and Parker is happily chewing on a carrot on his shoulder.
Cheers, Vosner.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I know that Master Marin said that maybe not everyone would go on to take care of the next bit of the mission, but I hope all of you are staying.
It seems that I need to be present here, so I wouldn't find myself anywhere else.
Taryn kind of laughs. I'm here for at least another 6 months.
Good.
Fate is out of my hands.
Damon looks
Well,
pensive and says, I'm not sure what I would do or be if I were not here.
that is fair. This next mission is perhaps more you than it is the rest of us, Damon.
He kind of looks almost like that. There's almost a revelation to him in his exhausted state that he just has been going through this thinking it was what Voltanis would have sent him forward for, was defending the guild. And the idea that there might be more is maybe a revelation to him.
I do have to say, Vosner, I owe you a bit of an apology. I know that you had spoken of your visions and your dreams for quite a while, but it is not that I doubted their authenticity, but perhaps their gravity. And, well, when we were taken to the Shadowfell by that book, I think I learned a lot more about you. And I am sorry that you have had to see these places and see these visions alone.
Vosner finishes chewing slowly and swallows and nods and says, well, thank you. I mean, it's even hard for me to believe, so I mean, like I said, we're a part of something very large, but from what I learned, especially now, is that we all have to be present and focused on what we're doing at the moment. So, in time, I guess the Shadowfell will come, but thank you for your new understanding. I feel like we'll grow. So when the time arises and we're in there and we go, we'll be prepared in one way or another.
Sure. Out of curiosity, the person that we saw there, do you know them?
Actually, I don't. But he knows me. So there must be something that I'm missing or have to remember or discover. But, yeah. Well, he said I was too early again. So I guess I'm forced to wait.
Yes, and you have been there before, but in dreams.
Yeah. I mean, the one that stands out to me the most is when I awoke there and I journeyed a long distance. And I don't remember seeing others there, but I guess they saw me. So I think it's a dream or something trying to communicate with me, but seems like we're bound up in it. But I don't know who that person is or what that bridge connects to, but it's something that, like Master Marin said, it's something quite large. So we'll have to be prepared for that.
Of course.
Are you saying that the fate of this group is to take a mission into the Shadowfell?
Well, you know, a wise teacher once told me that visions are not always set in stone, and sometimes they're inescapable. So it could be a possibility that we all go. If we don't, and whatever it is resolved beforehand, that's wonderful. But at least I will be connected there, and I hope I would have my companions by my side, and I look at each and every one of them. So if the fates or if nature guide us, I hope we all follow.
Marcus looks off at the thought of taking a mission into the Shadowfell, and you can see clearly the emotion would be something like you have almost never seen this on DeMarcus's face, like joyful anticipation. And he kind of just fades off and he says, "Then I hope that my fates should let me be able to accompany you on this mission." Do you have any concerns that the Shadowfell is reaching out to you? It's not a good place.
I mean, I've had concerns about it ever since my first dreams, and when Arcanus told me that I was seeing the Shadowfell, I began to look into it the best I could. It's a place that I would never want to go. Devoid of life or anti-life. It wasn't like, necromancy, like how, there's decay. It wasn't that. It was the opposite of life. So it's someplace that a person like me would never want to go. But for whatever reason, there's probably hordes and thralls there that we have to maybe face or stop or whatever.
There certainly are hordes and trolls there. You're right about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not your leisurely stroll through the abyss. So.
Well, speaking of that, normally when something from the abyss reaches out to us and calls us to go there, the last thing we should do is go there. It's worth being as cautious as possible about these messages. I'm sure you are.
Oh, yes. And I've talked with the masters and with Arcanus before he passed, but at the same time, we may have to go there. And whatever this figure is that Isolde and I met is probably waiting for us, but I don't know the nature of this person. So I don't know if it's friend or foe. I guess time will tell.
Marcus looks kind of gravely at you and he says, "You'll be hard pressed to find friends in the Shadowfell."
Oh, yes. Well, maybe. But, again, I can't say one way or another. I don't trust him, but at the same time, that's the only interaction that I can actually remember. So, that's all I have.
The path is unfolding before us. So, does anyone have any inclination about what we'll be doing after this break of a couple of weeks?
I
I heard
assume
there's,
go ahead.
Yeah. Vosner kind of chuckles as he looks at the job board. And he says that I bet there's a farm that needs to be tending to, or some boars to be run off someone's land.
Marcus smiles and lifts his glass and says, "Sounds like an extended vacation."
I don't think we would be spoiled with such easy tasks. No, I think that where we go next, it will be a long journey to one of the places behind those portals.
To collect an artifact.
Yes. And her voice is like kind of lower because she knows we're not supposed to be talking about this above board.
Yeah, you in the distance of the mess hall, you can hear like Gopher Squad like all cheering and playing poker and stuff.
Yeah, so she just kind of like lowers her voice and leans across the table a little bit. Yes, I think we'll have to pick where we go.
Well, then you'll need your rest because you look quite tired, Isolde. Are you okay?
Yes, better after that bit of sleep we just got. But it was quite a taxing fight,
The
as
spirits,
it was for all of us.
the spirits stole your strength, did they not?
Yes, a bit, but I am pretty strong.
It should be something that you can rest off. Spirits in the ancient library downstairs took much of my life force, but eventually it came back to me.
Yes, I was relieved, and I will probably have to rest quite a bit as you did. But once I am back together, then we will go and rebuild where we can.
I would like that.
And is everyone at the table, or is Missile still in the room?
Let's say Missile came out, like,
Okay.
not too long ago and has just been catching up. Nose in a book the whole time, of course, but listening nonetheless.
Good.
Is there a sound coming from the book?
Crackling fire.
Lovely. How would you all feel about going very, very far north to find the artifact that is in Icewind Dale?
Missile would be very eager to do that. And just kind of look up expectantly and excitedly.
You've heard of it, Master Millet. Master Missile?
What's that?
You've heard of Icewind Dale, Master Missile? Have you been there?
He would say, it's not that I've heard of it, it's just that I'm more than excited to find these magic objects and investigate them.
Ah, so you would be this excited no matter where I suggested.
More or less, yes.
Alright.
Go ahead, Taryn.
Taryn kind of looks down at like his silver arm and says that dragons of dragon kind of like me are said to have originated in the north. So I would be most interested in seeing where my kind may have come from.
There's
Silver
dragon.
one.
I follow where you lead, Captain.
Thank you, Damon. She smiles at him.
Yeah, Demarcus says, the nearest thing that I know about missions to frozen places is similar areas of the Abyss. I know very little about the North, so I think it'd be best if the person who knows the most about it were to decide, which is lucky for us because that person also happens to be the captain of this group.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Well, when we go to speak to Master Marin, then we can tell him of our intent for what happens after our leave.
And kind of in like a weird coincidence, like not deja vu, it's just like almost as if he heard you say that. Isolde, in your head you hear, Isolde, please bring with you Bear Squad and come to the 6th level of the guild. And it almost feels like the sending that you're normally used to hearing. It almost sounds like the sound is emanating from the ring that I'm assuming you're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what you hear. Though nobody else in the area seems to have heard that sound. So it almost sounds like it came from the ring, but it was from Marin.
I look distracted and I look down at my hand for a moment and then back up at the group. Speaking of which, Master Marin is expecting us downstairs.
Missile closes his book and stands up from the table.
Yeah, Demarcus just makes the leave. He doesn't even discuss.
Alright.
Okay.
I'll finish my tea and head off.
Okay. So you guys head down the stairs, and already you can tell that the Silent Watchers, the people who are kind of like the servants for they're basically priests to a Monitor who have dedicated themselves to the guild, are have clearly like been working at like transfiguring the guild and kind of cleaning it up and making it more hospitable. And as you're like walking down these long stairways towards the 6th level, it does continue to increase in kind of grittiness and age and dust and dirt as you get lower and lower. But it is noticeably better than it was the last time. And you finally make it down to the 6th floor, where you have been once before. Again, Johoff, I'm just throwing you on here so you can see. But in front of you stands Lyra, Talanis, the blue wizard, Marin, and Tetherman, and they seem to be discussing something. And Marin turns to you and says, "Welcome, Bear Squad. Curious, could you contact that person you knew on the Isle of Gunderlin for me?"
Of course.
And then before you cast sending, he says, "Isolde, please try using the ring. It is designed for this purpose." And
Alright.
if you haven't read the stats on the ring, you can cast sending
did.
once per day. Yeah, okay.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I'll just kind of fold my fingers together and close my eyes, and then open them suddenly and say, "Oh, what did you want me to say to her?"
Tell her to prepare the ritual discussed prior. It is time to open the portal.
Got it. And she'll lower her head again and cast sending to Katari. This is Isolda. Please begin the ritual to open the portal connecting Gunderlin to the guild. We are ready.
And you hear like a response, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was eating lunch, but no, that's fine. I'll be right over there. Give me like 10 minutes."
It will be like 10 minutes, Master Marin, but she is going.
No worry, that is fine. And you guys are all kind of standing down there awkwardly.
It's what we do best.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything you guys want to do?
Yeah, we might as well ask questions
About what? You just cut out. Oh no, Laurel just disconnected. Okay.
I'm gonna ask.
You're gonna ask what?
Gonna ask Tetherman about restoring the druid level, if the masters had any plan about that.
Yeah. Tetherman would say, it's already being done, actually. I'm relocating my office to that location. You should come by
Sorry
and
if
see
I cut
it.
out.
Yeah, you're back.
What did he say at the end?
He said you should come by and see it once it's done.
Yeah, I would definitely love to. And is it common for druids to be in the Feywild? At least that's where those strange tree beasts came from.
Oh, well, the force of living energy that comes from the Feywild is very important for the life and flourishing of plants and other things on this plane. So, yes, there's always a connection, and druids are known for being able to tap into that connection.
I'd love to learn more about that. It seems pretty great.
Yes, some scholars believe that the material plane is sort of a cross zone, a mixture, sort of a Venn diagram where the plane of shadow and the Feywild cross over, where we get both life and darkness.
Vosner kind of nods his head, beginning to try and piece things together. He would say, "We may have to talk with you more about that that idea or theory, I guess. Maybe you could explain some things that I've been experiencing."
Indeed, anytime.
If there's an opportune moment, Demarcus will walk up to Mirren and Lady Tyra. What was I can't shit. What was it?
Lyra, you can't see the name?
Oh yeah, no, I can. Sorry, I wasn't zoomed in. Yeah, Demarcus will walk up to both of them and he'll say, "Not that my fate is particularly important, or that I value it more highly than what we're doing, but have either of you heard anything about the situation in Daramar? My only concern is that I could be a liability to our endeavors here."
Lyra kind of looks to Marin, and she turns to you and says, "Demarcus, I don't have time for politics, but perhaps Marin knows." And Marin kind of smiles and nods and says, "Yes, the situation is not so great. Your name is yet to be cleared, and frankly, your association with the guild is a bit of a liability, but never mind that. I imagine we can keep you hidden and safe for as long as we need to, until the matter resolves itself.
I understand. Thank you, Master Man. Sorry that I'll be holding onto your ring for a little bit longer, it seems, then.
It is no matter. There is always more rings.
Marcus smiles and bows and walks away.
And you can tell that Lyra and Marin are discussing the magic, and they're looking into each other's spell books and talking back and forth about the portal spell. And Tetherman is just sort of standing there at the ready, not entirely sure what his purpose is in this whole process.
Did you guys hear the question that she asked earlier before I cut out?
No, you said, I want to ask, and then you just it's like, great.
Classic. Yeah, Izzy says to Master Marin, we've been discussing which portal we would like to, I guess, fix next, and we would like to go to Icewind Dale, I think. It is a large and quite formidable landscape, though. Can you tell us anything about what we should be looking for, or what to expect when we get there?
Oh, well, I insist that you at least wait a couple of weeks before embarking on a journey. But yes, you are right. We will eventually be sending guild members towards these portals to open them. So, as for your question, yes, Icewind Dale, well, it's not entirely in Icewind Dale, it's in that general area, but our research suggests that the portal itself is in the city of Luskan, which is a little bit south of Icewind Dale. But the artifact that we will need to open the portal is, well, its location is unknown. The guild has been working with some of the wizards of the Council of Silvery Moon, and we will have an answer to its current residence soon enough, hopefully.
Understood. Well, hopefully we will have an answer by the time our 3 weeks is up.
Yes. I will write down that Bear Squad has claimed the Icewind Dale portal for their quest. Curious, is there another place that you would like to see after that?
I don't think I know enough about where they are. To be honest, I have only ever lived on the Sword Coast, so...
Very well. Well, you're free to research it as you will, and come to me with a conclusion. All of the groups, all of the squads get a say in where they end up and what they pursue, and if they pursue it at all. So, just want you to get ahead of that.
Of course.
And it's right about then that Lyra kind of turns to Marin, and they start doing a ritual cast spell on the floor. Marin is the one doing it as he holds this spell focus, this crystal orb from Multanus that had once been in Damon's chest. He holds it in his hand and is casting this spell as he's doing a ritual, basically. And Tetherman is just kind of standing there, and after Marin completes the sigil on the ground, Tetherman basically stands in the center of it and points his staff towards this gate, and there's kind of this low rumble of energy as certain magical components of this room begin to sort of unravel, and the air gets kind of thick with static, and there's this kind of high-pitched whine, and then all of a sudden all of that disperses and the static goes away, and a portal opens. And on the other side of that portal is Katari, looking back at you, kind of amazed.
Missile is impressed and feverishly takes notes on what he thinks he just saw.
Damon perks
Rosner
up. Go ahead.
offers a friendly wave and smiles.
And Katari walks through the portal. And Marin welcomes her. And she bows. And says, where are we? And Marin responds, welcome to the guild, Katari. I have heard good things about you. I trust that you will keep this portal a secret, as we will keep it a secret on our end. There's no reason for either party to cross through without permission from the other. I will send you messages when we need to use it. And she sort of nods and looks to the rest of you and says, we heard about the fires all the way out here. Are you guys doing okay?
Yes, it is nice to see you. We are recovering, but it went better than it could have, I think.
Very well. Well, if you, I guess if you ever need to come back to Gunderlin, you can, do so with relative ease now. I will be on the other side. But please, let me know if you're coming through. Me and my people have sort of set up camp outside the portal, and we'll be protecting it from hostile folks.
Of course. And thank you again for being willing to work with us on this.
Of course. I owe you a great debt for what you did for my island. And she bows and walks back through the portal.
Dope. And just to clarify, we do at some point have to go back to Gunnerlin to bring the dragon head there?
Yes. And it's actually very close to where Vosner and Terran want to go for their 3-week thing, so they might want to use it to, shorten their trip.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Wink. Y'all got fast travel now. That's all I'm saying.
Super cool.
You don't need Miliardo's stupid boat anymore. He's dead to you.
Oh.
I haven't been this excited
God.
since Anne Orlando.
Sick Dark Souls reference. Okay. Marin looks like over the moon. He's very pleased with this. And you see him sort of turn towards the door, this big ornate metal door, and he casts a spell and it shuts. And he casts another spell, and you can kind of tell that the metal on the door is starting to fuse over and become solid. And he turns to you and says, all of these doors will be locked permanently unless you get permission to go outside of this portal. Always know that in order to come back to the guild through one of these portals, you'll have to contact me ahead of time so that I can open it for you. Otherwise, you'll be stuck.
Understood. And this is relatively safe now?
Well, the only portal we have open currently is to Gunderlin, which is fairly safe. The rest of this is secured with powerful magic. I assume we won't have any trouble. But we will keep guards here posted most of the time, and I will spend a lot of time down here, along with Lyra, learning more about what we can.
And magic remains inaccessible to those without the proper artifacts on this level. Is that correct?
Indeed. With, an exception. I have created rings which are able to cast sending on this level, as Isolde just recently learned. It's sort of a, fallback in case you need to contact me after you've accidentally gone through a portal.
Yes, that seems like an important failsafe if we are ever trapped on the other side of one of these doors.
Indeed. I thought so as well. And Tetherman sort of goes back and kind of grabs his staff out of the center of that ritual, and sort of as he's walking back towards the exit, you see like a little bit of this sigil on the floor begin to fade. Like it lights up in one area and fades in another area as he crosses over one of these little spots. And he kind of looks at his feet, and Marin looks at him and sort of smiles, and then Tetherman kind of ignores it and walks away up to the top level.
Just to be clear, Master Marin, in the event that we were trapped behind one of these doors, is it that the ring can cast sending, or that someone who already knows how to cast sending can use it? Like, if I am dead and one of my party members has to use it, they can?
Anyone wielding the ring can cast the spell.
Alright, good.
But I hope it doesn't come to that.
Oh, I hope it doesn't either, but it is always good to know.
Very well. Well, you are all dismissed. If you need to use this portal to travel to Gunderlin, just let me know and we will open it.
Alright.
And he sort of like dismisses you guys. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want.
Montage.
I would say that at some point, maybe you guys go back to your barracks, you receive a letter inviting each of you, including Johoff, who gets it at the Lee Wind where he's currently staying, to a festival or party at Miliardo's place, and it's signed. It says like, thank you so much, and I would love to have you as guests of honor, and that he was forever grateful and hopes you enjoyed the paper birds, and then signs it Duke Miliardo Leventhorpe of Mossstone.
Nice. Is the party tonight?
It is the following night.
Cool.
Actually, we don't need to stay there, but before we would have left that lower level, Missile would have turned to Damon to ask a question, but really it's a question for you, John.
Sure.
But he would have said, Damon, while we're down here, I was hoping you could recollect that memory you shared with us of the 7 mages down here opening the portals. Do you remember that?
I do.
You described a bald halfling man named Deldor casting something, and I'm curious if you could fill us in as to what that something was. Everybody else had a staff or scrolls or of some sort, but I'm curious what that man had, if anything. So
Okay.
yeah, John, that would be Diva. Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second. Gotta pull out my spreadsheet. You better believe it's true.
Nerd.
We love spreadsheets.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so he would know that Udeldor was a halfling, a bald halfling, I believe. I guess it's also in here. But he had a staff as well.
Okay.
Let me
Any
look at my notes.
Yeah, noteworthy characteristics.
He had green robes, he was bald, and he had a staff made of smooth stone.
Cool. Right. Upon hearing that, Missile would say, well, "Wonderful. I figure if we're to find these artifacts, we ought to know what we're looking for." And he is satisfied.
You just wanted to know about the one person?
Well, everybody else got a description of some sort as to what kind of magic object they were using to cast that large spell, and I was curious what his was, just to...
Oh, did you get all the other descriptions?
Yeah,
Sweet.
just... Yeah, like a white birch staff and a staff of ice and snow, etc., etc. So,
Okay.
'cause
Yeah, and
Missile-
I kind of skipped over the descriptions a little quickly, so if you ever need new ones, let me know.
This is for the sake of free time research in the library, so...
Sure.
Okay, to the barracks.
Okay. So you're back at the barracks. Just barracksing it up.
Heron will go look for Evander.
Okay. And after talking with some peeps, you would find out that Evander is down in the library. In the fancy new library. And fancy old library, I guess. Let me throw you there. I guess I'm just going to drop the whole squad. Let's take a 5-minute break, though, before we do that, and then we'll pick up with Taryn talking to Evander in the library.
Roger that.
Alright. God, where's all the fighting? You guys are so boring. I'll just assume that you guys would have really liked that joke if you were all here.
I loved it. I'm sitting here with my fist clenched around a d20 ready to roll initiative, John.
Well, you are going back to the library, and you know what happened last time you were there. Shit got real.
Sure did.
Maybe before Taryn goes off to see Evander, if other people wanted to do anything that
I'm
doesn't,
back.
yeah, that doesn't require like a scene change, like if you guys wanted to chat or something. But if there's nobody wants to do that, then we'll just cut to that. Also, if you guys don't ever go to the Lee Wind, Joe Hoff will just be like forever just watching this episode. But he's also invited to the party, so, you know.
I'm happy to watch
What a trooper.
and drink.
You drinking right now?
No.
He's got to get in character, you know.
Have you guys watched that show, that like interview guy on YouTube, the all gas no brakes guy?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's amazing. Anyways, he did this one. There's this one on the rockets that they're launching in Florida, like the Elon Musk rockets, and there's just like all these like drunk rednecks screaming "rocket launch" like over and over, and like America. And anyways, there's all these like, it's a really long episode of just like people being complete morons. And at the end of that, I had to start day drinking yesterday. I was drunk by like 4 o'clock. After watching that, I was like, we're so fucked as a country. Like that is our. Yeah.
I posted it in the general chat, so.
I had a pretty substantial edible yesterday. So I was on that same level.
Yeah. It's really weird when you get drunk and then like sober again by 6 p.m. and you're like, oh, that's a weird day.
What have I done?
I guess I'll go to bed.
Yeah, I was like, I
I used
don't
to
know.
regularly do that every weekend because I would watch my soccer team play on a Saturday or Sunday, and since it's Europe time, like the game starts at like noon.
Yeah.
You know, by 5, you're just like, what am I doing with my life right now?
Who's your team?
AC Milan.
Right on.
Hey, man.
Right on.
The other night, I couldn't sleep. I had, for whatever reason, and it was like 3 in the morning. And for some reason, I decided at 3 in the morning to watch that like half-hour long interview with Trump.
Oh God.
Bad idea.
Damn.
You made a mistake.
Literally afterwards, I got up out of bed and sat at the dining room table drinking whiskey and just staring at the wall.
It is what it is, Tim. It is what it is.
The interview with all the charts and stuff,
Yeah.
where he like doesn't know math. Yeah, it's cool.
The memes that have come out of that have been
The Curb Your Enthusiasm videos. Yeah, the
Pretty
memes.
potent.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
It's those charts were the best thing about that interview, I think.
Jonathan Swan was like a hilariously comedic interviewer. He wasn't trying to be. It was a seriously done and like very like good question interview.
It-
was just like, what books? What manual?
Yeah, he was playing the straight man. He was Jason Bateman in Arrested Development for that whole interview.
That is actually well put. That is exactly what we're looking at here.
We didn't get any like kind of expecting smiles with like, well, I didn't know what I expected.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The chart says dead dove at the top.
Okay, so yeah,
Where are we at day right now? Because we woke up late.
Good
and then
point.
we ate, and then that
let's say it's
just happened.
the evening. We can fast forward a little bit. Here's the deal. I want to fast forward so that you guys are like more and more human and recovered, and so that the city has kind of rebuilt itself a little bit and things have gone by. But I also don't want to rob you of downtime by being like, oh, 3 days went by. You don't get to do anything in those 3 days because I said they went by. Like, so there's kind of a balance there with that. Yeah. Anyways, I'll say if you guys don't have anything else you wanted to do in the barracks, like chit-chat wise, we can just have Taryn go to the library. Again, all of you will be there in token, so that you can see shit, but not actually there unless you want to accompany him. Okay. No objections. There we go. Ooh, ah. And, Taryn, you walk into the guild library, which looks a lot nicer than the last time you were here. All of the books have been sort of cared for, put back on their shelves, reordered, dusted, and sort of preserved, maybe through magic, maybe through just careful taking. And you see to your right as you come in the room, Malton Fairhall, who's just like sitting over this desk, covered in papers, doing a lot of research. He's kind of got like a book propping open a book in multiple places, so he's kind of like reading 10 books at the same time. And he seems completely fixated on that. And you find Evander sitting at a table with a number of books lined up that he's ready to read, and he's reading one currently as you come in. And he kind of looks up at you and smiles and goes, Taryn, welcome. Look around. Looks a lot nicer than the last time we were here, huh?
Yeah, no, cleans up nice. It looks like we've got a nicer librarian too.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, for now, given time, who knows?
You know, we'll have to make sure we're quiet.
Indeed.
I was talking with Vosner, and we were thinking about looking for the bronze dragon that overlooks the bay. In case, or like maybe so he could teach me more about unlocking the power in my blood. He's kind of like bring it up and a little uncomfortable because he doesn't want to be like, hey, I want somebody else to teach me, because he doesn't want to be like try like step on his toes, but he's also, so he's like kind of like struggling with how to say it.
Sure, no, Evander looks at you for a while and says, fascinating, yes, well, I mean, I guess we never really talked about, the powers that you gained while you were away. Would you like to explain to me how that worked?
It's mostly what actually happened with the spider is mostly like a dream to me right now. But it seems like while I was with him, I unlocked some power from my soul that I've never been able to touch before. And I don't know if I could learn similar things from dragons who, you know, aren't very evil.
Well, if you could, I suppose it would make it a lot easier. There have been tales of people who have been corrupted by the influence of a dragon, and, well, as much as I can tell, it doesn't seem like you have been, but I worry. The green scales were a little bit alarming at first. But yes, it is something I'm unfamiliar with. I gained my magic ability from my connection to the divine. so I'm not sure I share your, source. But if you think that perhaps this is something you could unlock in communicating with or learning from a dragon, then I believe seeing one of, a metallic type would probably be the safest to test this out. Yes, what better one than the one nearest to us? Though I suppose there's also a gold one in the Wildath that Marin at least knows of, or perhaps has met. I never was quite clear on that.
Apparently, according to Isolde and Vosner, while we were on the seas before we met Jacobah, we met the bronze overlooking the bay. So it seems like he was in the guise of a dwarf named Rusty. And
yes. Well, they do tend to adopt humanoid forms, and in order to blend in with society. I have heard tale of that very often. In fact, these books here say that bronze dragons tend to sort of make pacts with sailing ships, and in order to protect them, they get paid gold. They're kind of entrepreneurs of the dragon folk.
Yeah. Do you know much more about this bronze dragon in particular?
Well, not much, other than he's very, very old. Exactly when he arrived is unknown, which is a sign that he's been here for a very long time. These books don't even include record of him, and these books are, well, very, very old. Though the problem with metallic dragons is that they may have been in society for a long time in humanoid form and never told anyone. So it's possible that this dragon, be it as a dwarf named Rusty or in a different form, is all over these books, and we just don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So, if there's not much more you can tell me about that, I think after the reconstruction and Miliardo's dinner thing are over, Vosner and I will probably head out to find him. On another note, have you learned much about the staff that we took from the Dead Skull Lord?
I've actually been researching that the last bit today here. From what I can tell, it is just a it's only a couple hundred years old. It is nothing ancient or nor artifact of extreme power. It's mostly just a cursed staff. The wielder of it is kind of brought towards evil, if you will, compelled. So it will not be a staff that we redistribute or share for guild use. Unfortunately, it is evil at its core. It will be destroyed, along with many of the other artifacts that we pull from the cultists.
Yeah, I think I felt it call to me down in the sewers, but it was a very weak call.
Yes, its effect on those who are aligned with good is usually lesser.
Interesting.
But it is a good sign that you were able to resist it.
Indeed. Well, I guess I'll let you get back to your research then.
One moment though. If you... I guess... How much do you know about dragons, bronze dragons?
Not a lot. Just, I haven't had a lot of downtime to really look into them.
Well, I can give you this tome, or I can tell you the highlights. Depends on what you'd like.
The highlights would be great. I'm not a huge researcher.
Very well. The general gist is that, all metallic dragons tend to be aligned with good, tend to help people in times of need. Bronze dragons are known for being fairly intelligent. They live usually in coastlines and take up in caves near large bodies of water. So I imagine that he's somewhere off the coast of Firedrake Bay, and wherever he lives, it's probably in a very large cave. Of course, there are thousands of caves, and so this is not very good information. But one bit of very good information is that the area around these caves tends to have flourishing aquatic life. Lots of creatures, lots of bright coral. And so if you find a location with this description, then you will probably be pretty close.
Just from my memory, is there anywhere that comes to mind that would match this?
The beach that you landed when Rusty teleported you guys there slightly matches that description, as though it were on the fringe of that territory. He goes into a bit about like the history of dragons and like where like various scholars that like had recorded seeing them and at what times, and he gets a little bit too far afield, and he can tell that you're kind of zoning out. And
real quick, that was near Port Tier, right?
It was a couple days walk from Port Tier.
All right.
In the Starspire Mountains area off the coast of kind of the coastal area near Gunderlin.
So like the continental coastal area that's close to
Yes.
Gunderlin.
Correct.
Taryn will mention that that description then. Like the place where Rusty transported them to Evander to see if he thinks that would make sense.
He says, yes, that might be it. It might be close to there. At least that's a good starting point. Another thing to know is that they actually, bronze dragons have two forms of breath. One is lightning, and the other is a repulsion breath that pushes enemies away. Very few dragons have two types of breath.
That is strange.
Indeed.
Is there any reason why people think that they developed multiple breath weapons rather than just the one like most?
He goes into a very long explanation involving multiple scholars who have different theories, and it is like it just sounds like a whole bunch of like conflicting narratives, none of which have a solid conclusion.
All right. Taryn like glasses over within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, he keeps going for about 5 more.
All right. With that, Taryn will thank Evander and let him get back to whatever he was working on.
I wish you luck, Taryn.
Thank you, and good luck with your research as well.
Thank you. Anything else you want out of that scene? Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. What up next? Anybody need to do anything or talk to anybody?
We don't need to roleplay it, but Taryn would tell Vosner about what he learned about where the Bronze Dragons live and how it ties in with where Rusty teleported them.
that sounds cool. I think the only thing would be unless Tetherman needs to tell me something overt, he's just gonna hang out with Tetherman down on that same level and sort of check out his new office and ask him about the Feywild and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, so Tetherman's office is not ready yet. He's been building it himself, and I think that invitation from him was more like in a couple of days, maybe.
Never mind. Wagner
Yeah.
will be somewhere else.
Alright, fair enough. What's Damon doing during this time?
Damon is mostly still feeling dazed from the battle and is probably dealing with an internal struggle over the fact that when he was knocked unconscious, he didn't experience anything at all. It was just like a void of nothing. And confronting the fact that maybe that's what E is experiencing, because he doesn't have any reason to understand E would experience anything different. He's probably in a lot of existential crisis right now.
Wow. Alright, fuck.
That is
You are
heartbreaking.
definitely going to have to talk to Missile about that.
Okay.
The one thing he just feels like burnt out.
At some point before the Miliardo dinner, Izzy is gonna talk to him about what his plans are for the 3 weeks off. So if she goes back to the barracks and he's clearly in warp, then she won't say it then, but maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I would say after another night of rest, he would start
Yeah.
to feel a little more okay, I have to deal with things.
Makes sense.
Okay. Tim, do you want to do a thing at the Leewin? Or, I mean, you don't have to, it's just, yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything major that needs to go on other than that thing you and I talked about earlier.
Sure. Well,
Um,
we could have them doing it at that time.
When everyone else comes in.
I mean, it depends on if people come in. I don't know if people are gonna come see you at the
Yeah.
Leewin.
Of course.
They just decide Joe Hoff forever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of well, we're just gonna go to bed and have another day, talk to
that's
Marin.
gratitude for you, isn't it?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. We'll do that.
Wait, actually do the scene or wait till they show up?
Wait till or if or when they show up.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, I think we were gonna go.
No, I mean, yeah,
Before.
sure, of course you were. So I guess what's next? You guys just did a scene with Taryn talking to Evander. There's an existential crisis for Damon. What's Missile up to?
Really, I only have stuff for the 3 weeks, and it was going to be researching those magic objects,
Sure.
just to gain information on that moving forward. And of course, now that I see that a mechanical man is having an existential crisis, I'm going to need to figure out how that works.
Sure. Well, if you guys want to have that chat now, you can. Otherwise, we can skip to you guys going to the Leewin if you want to do that. I don't care.
Yeah, that actually might be something Damon would bring up as almost a way of avoidances to mention that perhaps we should check on Joe Hoff.
Yeah,
I was
DeMarcus
gonna.
is really interested in normally trying to fool Joe off into stuff that we do. I mean, depending on the time of the day and if it seems appropriate or not, DeMarcus will normally be trying.
Yeah.
I was gonna have Izzy suggest that we all go get a drink, since it's nighttime now and we woke up at 6 p.m. or something stupid.
Yeah, so I'll say let's kind of fast forward a day and you guys did some more shit and are recovering and sort of like healing up, and then you guys are still on kind of a fucked up schedule, so it's like evening sort of when you guys decide to go to the Brakashin. Or not the Brakashin, sorry, the Leewind. And let me drop your tokens.
In that day, John, I'm going to infuse something that will be of use to me in the Brakashin.
Yeah, dude, go for it. I'm not anticipating there'll be any combat, so I got 2
Right,
go
no,
offs.
this is a non-combat infusion here.
Yeah, no worries.
Bang.
The only thing in the future for your infusions that we need to do is to make sure that if you change any of them, we remove the old buffs from players so that people don't just like have a bunch of legacy infusions on them.
Yeah. On that, then, if Demarcus could lose the +1 AC and Terran could lose I think it was fire resistance.
Yeah, I turned mine off.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, mine.
Problem solved. But thank you. Yeah.
Okay. You guys walk into... Have you guys loaded? That's weird. It's saying you're not loaded, but...
I just have a black screen right now.
Yeah. I also just have a black screen.
Same.
Same.
Maybe refresh.
I can see everything now.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so as you're walking towards the Leewind, you kind of cross the normal bridge that you do, and you can see that a lot of Milestone is kind of going back to normal. The docks are running again, the ships are kind of like filling up with stuff, a lot of supplies have been brought in from different cities, giving supplies to Milestone to help rebuild, lots of fresh wood, and people kind of like scurrying around. There's a lot of activity as a lot of reconstruction is happening in the city. And you get to the Leewind and come in the room, and it's pretty bustling. There are a lot of people sitting around tables drinking. The barkeeper, Tommy, is kind of looks up excitedly when he sees Terran. And you see in kind of, I guess we'll put it in the back of the room, you see Johoff kind of on the table getting a tattoo from Cass. And Big Pete turns to him and says, "Hey, Johoff, your friends are here."
Oh, yeah? What? Well, have them come on back, right?
And Big Pete waves you guys back.
Well, you look none the worse for the wear, I suppose.
Same to you, looking a lot better than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be especially if Cass don't kill me here.
She just says, "Shut up, you're such a baby."
Looks like a risk you've already accepted.
Yeah, more than once, I suppose, actually. By the way, the you can kind of make out amongst the sort of seeping blood on his back that he's getting a huge tattoo that goes down the middle of his back. That looks kind of like a tower, like a fortified tower that's going down his back. And like as you look at it, it actually looks like there's almost like metal is in parts of the tower, like metallic things running under his skin. And every once in a while, there's like a little gleam on the tower, as if it looks like some of the bricks of the tower are getting like frost and ice across them before it dissipates.
Marcus jokingly says, I was under the impression that we were going to get matching tattoos, Johoff, but I don't know if that one quite suits me.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty of space for other ones, so the offer still stands, right?
Yeah, I think I'll take you up on that later.
You will go with a face tattoo, I think. If you always worry about people recognizing you.
It's not the first time that I've been told that.
So, yeah, what's new with you guys? It's been a few days.
Well, we have been resting up and recovering, slowly hearing word of everything that's going on in town, and hoping that you are doing the same. How has your last couple days been?
Mostly in a drunken haze, if I have to be honest. So,
That's nice.
pretty good, yeah. It's been nice.
So basically the usual.
Yeah. Well, you know, if the guards didn't want us drinking, they wouldn't have made alcohol, right?
Sure. Speaking of which, Big Pete, would you mind if we went and grabbed a round?
Yeah, it's on the house.
Much appreciated.
Missile takes a seat here and gives Mortimer a tankard and some money to go to the bar and fetch him a drink.
You see Tommy at first kind of like swatting at it with like a rag, like trying to get the spider off the bar, and Mortimer's kind of like dodging left and right, but still like holding the tankard. And then you hear Big Pete yell, "Hey, Tommy, it's alright, just give the little spider some ale." And he, like, you get a concerned look, and he kind of like glares over in that direction, but then he sees Taryn and he smiles. And he just takes the tankard, fills it up, gives it back to the spider.
Yeah.
So, I got this your invitation to one of them swanky parties. I suppose you probably got the same, right?
Yes.
I'm not much for parties like that, but, you know, it's free food, right, and probably some free ale, so I might go. But you guys...
Oh, you should definitely come.
John, does DeMarcus have any reason to believe that Titus Rosethorn will be at the party?
Yes. So, I'll help you out here. So, Big Pete goes, "Hey, that's unique. I didn't expect you lowly folks to get invited to the same kind of parties that us, you know, high and mighty folks like Big Pete usually attend."
Yeah, you fucking hear about Big Pete becoming respectable and whatnot.
That's right.
I've
You're
heard
looking
the
at
rumors.
the new Dockmaster of Mossdown, the highest-ranking official short of the Duke.
Very
Mythical
impressive.
class.
Bosner looked impressed.
Yeah, I'll give it a week before the whole Mossdown's burning down a second time, right?
And
Taryn will make a joke that it's finally catching up. The title is finally catching up to what he's always done.
that's right. Big Pete accomplishes big things.
What of the silver crabs then?
Oh, well, the crabs were, you know, they'll always be around. There's always a place for, crabs in, Mossdown. But, well, frankly, times, they are changing.
What do you mean?
Well, if I'm being honest, the, last few months, the crabs weren't doing as much, you know, crabbing as they were, collecting checks to, not crab, if you catch my meaning.
Bosner looks confused because he actually thinks that they're crabbing, but he nods to kind of let the conversation keep going.
And Cass kind of turns to the rest of your group and just says, Big Pete's been collecting checks from Miliardo not to smuggle for a while now. Turns out Big Pete's a bigger fan of Miliardo than any of us. And
Wow.
Big Pete goes, well, I'm not sure I'm a fan as much as I am, happily employed.
So the money that Miliardo was giving the silver crabs, you were paying to your men to keep them from smuggling?
That's right. Made more
Sure,
money
that's
not committing crimes than we did committing them. It's quite a deal.
And what difference would it make to Miliardo?
Well, he had friends in low places. How do you think Johoff here got recommended to Miliardo in the first place?
I see.
That's right, Big Pete's been behind all of it all along.
I am impressed.
Well, don't look too impressed.
I asked if it has anything to do with his full pencil stash.
I don't quite follow, but I am a big fan of that man's stash.
Joe off rolls his eyes.
If you could grow a stash like that, Joe Hoff, you'd do it in a day.
If I could grow a stash like that, I'd hide my face and never show myself in civilized comfort again.
Yeah, 'cause you're such a, bastion of beauty.
Damon will focus and change his appearance to have a pencil mustache. And ask, do I seem that different?
Good lord. Can you look like anything?
Sorry, I missed that. Say that one more time.
He said, can you look like anything?
I don't think anything is possible, but within the humanoid reason, yes.
I, might have a job for you if you ever get desperate. There's a lot of folks around here who might pay a pretty penny for that kind of service. And he gives you a wink.
You would have to take that up with my captain.
You've got a
He's not
captain.
available. Sorry.
Is Zolda the captain now?
Yes, as of a couple days ago.
Well, congratulations. Seems that promotions are just flying about these days.
Yes,
Yeah,
times they are changing.
Oh.
What's that, Joe Huff?
Well, I'm just saying that some promotions seem a little more deserved than others.
He waits for you to clarify your point.
Yeah, Zolda looks like that might be a slight against her.
Oh no, not you, not you. It's well deserved. Actually, I got to tell you, Isolde, I kind of thought you already were that. So, I mean, congratulations, but just don't really change anything.
Thank you. Yes, it's I don't know. I think I will continue to do things the way that I had. But it is nice to have the recognition.
Did you get a little badge or something?
Something like that. Nothing as nice as Johoff's tattoo, though.
Well, maybe as new captain you've got the prestige to make Joe Hoff a honest member of the Hoity-Toity Guild.
Oh, I don't think that he would think very kindly on that. Right, Johoff?
Yeah, I'll hate to see your first act as, your captain to be something so awful as that.
Oh, I don't know. I think deep down he wants to sleep in those marble beds and, train with the masters.
Well, we won't be in those beds for forever. I think our jobs will call us somewhere else.
Oh yeah? If you's leaving Mossstone, who's gonna protect us from, evil cults and the like?
There are plenty of others. Other squads and the masters.
Very well.
Plus, all of you did a very good job. I mean, we might have stopped one point, but everything else that happened in the town happened because of the crabs and the people here to put out the fires together.
Yeah, well,
This is not a defenseless town.
I heard they got a new dockmaster who's quite a badass.
yeah, you're looking at him. Yeah, well, we'll take care of it best we can. We've got a lot of resources at our disposal, and I think that Miliardo will use his dukedom to, keep us all safe for the most part, as long as the coin's in it for him.
I hope so.
From what I understand, you guys is leaving.
Not right away. Probably not even until a couple weeks from now, but that is something that I would like to discuss with you. Either after our dinner or sometime in the next coming weeks.
Well, I've got a pretty open schedule these days, so whenever you want.
Alright, we will have a drink then.
Speaking of the dinner, Johoff, whether you have a mustache or not, your presence in polite, civilized company may require attention to a particular detail this evening. I likely won't be there if a man named Titus Rosethorn is there. And I say this, I guess Big Pete's listening, so I probably wouldn't say this in front of Big Pete or Cass. Yeah, I wouldn't do that, so redact everything that I just came up with.
It's pretty fun. And I was gonna have Big Pete say something, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so if DeMarcus mentioned that, he'd probably interrupt and say to Johoff, "You remember that Titus Rosethorn fellow when we were at the Queen's, bout, if you will?"
Yeah, big shiny guy.
Yeah,
To down them.
yeah, beat the shit out of that Norse lady.
Right, I remember him, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be there. He's been sent by the Queen and all her righteous, divine, whatever, insight. And he's gonna be there, shiny armor and all. Maybe you should challenge him to fisticuffs.
I wouldn't suggest that.
Yeah, no would I. He looks like a right big boy.
Drink too much, Johoff. Try to keep from fighting him.
Yeah, well, I probably would manage that. Although I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that in order to become the new dockmaster, it's got to fight this guy into town. So, Big Pete, I think you're up, actually.
Oh, well, sometimes you just get awarded the position on the presumption that you would have already won. That's what happened in my case. No need for me to, leave blood in the streets, if you will.
You are a shining example to us all, Big Pete.
Well, the little ones, they look up to me and all.
So,
what do you know about this guy here? And he looks at DeMarcus.
Oh, nothing. I just know that he's a quite well-renowned fighter from Daramar, and DeMarcus kind of looks at you. I don't know. He's trying to impress upon you that like you can't quite go into it right now, and he's like almost pleading with you to not press the issue too much. Like with his eyes, whether you pick up on it or not is up for question. But that's pretty much all that his response would be for that.
Cass, who is fairly insightful, looks at you and just says, "Do you want us to leave?"
No, not at all. You don't have to leave at all, Cass. I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling very well. That's why I probably won't be able to be at the dinner tonight.
Roll deception for that.
Yep.
Ooh.
She actually kind of buys it.
Kind of halfway.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to do here?
I mean, I'll stay and check out the rest of Johaf getting his tattoo.
Yeah.
Crazy magical shit
Yeah, I mean,
going
you
on
guys
there.
can we can fade to black if you will, while you guys are all
Yeah.
kind of sitting around drinking. We don't
Yeah.
have to cut away. And if you guys want to just stay in the scene, that's totally fine. I just want to make sure.
If we are staying and drinking, after 3 or 4 ales, Missile is conspicuously sober.
Yeah, little shit can hold his ale.
He blushes.
He's a surprising little one. Missile, we haven't spoken very much yet, but you're no stranger to battles, and that's quite clear. Why is that?
I'm surprised you say that. I really don't see much of battle.
Well, you hold your own quite well.
Well, I like to think I'm able to. I put a lot of faith in my tools.
Here I was imagining you some famed gnome artificer working for a king in his battles, constructing all kinds of contraptions to win.
No, I mostly work for myself and for the sake of knowledge.
Is that how you learned to field dress dragons?
I read it in a book once.
So Argus smiles and says, I find that very hard to believe.
Well, believe what you like. You know you can learn quite a bit from books.
Well, I suppose.
Joe Hop
and-
is looking back and forth between the two of you as you're having a conversation. Finally goes, "Hey, what the fuck are you two talking about?"
I have no idea. They just kind of do this now and again.
Mortimer takes the tankard and goes and gets a refill.
Tommy refills it, and this time he's less afraid of it. He's just kind of like whatever, and just fills up the tankard.
Yeah. His squeaks are cute, after all. And he hobbles back.
So, he's older. What memory serves, it's a bit fuzzy, right? The battle kind of went badly for me. You know, being huge wasn't as fun this time as it was the time before, I have to admit. But, well, I seem to recall seeing you go down and then, you know, soldiering your way back up to your feet. That's the sign of a strong person. I think very highly of that.
Well, thank you. I can't take all the credit for it. I did fall unconscious, and I heard the voice of my god telling me to get back up, so it is from him that I got that strength.
Oh yeah, interesting, I suppose. I mean, look, it's not my place to tell you what you got is and ain't doing, right? I mean, far be it from me to come along and just trash everybody's perceptions, but don't sell yourself short, right? Sometimes people's are strong, and then they just try to say, no, it ain't me, it's my God, and they actually don't do themselves justice. You're the strong son of a bitch, and you don't forget that. You don't need some flappy divine beast getting shit done for you when you can do it yourself.
You are correct. It is not your role to tell me what my God is and isn't doing. I am strong, yes, but I know what happened.
Cass laughs.
Yeah, all right. What helps at night? And, Marcus, you kind of lost your shit in there. What was that all about? You, blinking around the battlefield, smashing into people?
I described it to you, I'd have to refer to the gods, Johoff, and I'd rather not talk to you about them.
All right. Oh, it's not like I don't believe they exist. You can do what you want in the name of the gods. Obviously they exist. And, if your feelings about your god make you decide you gotta blink around the battlefield like a fairy and smash shit up, I'm all for it. You did some great damage out there, friend.
As Marcus just lifts his glass and sort of smiles at Johoff. The first thing that he said was barbed. He was nearly just telling you to shut up about talking about this kind of stuff. But after when you said that, he kind of smiles at you and lifts his glass and just drinks to it.
I do have to say, as much as you might not have enjoyed being large again this time, you did quite a bit of damage, and offered me some protection as well on the field, so thank you.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. I don't mind standing in front of another person if it helps them survive, but, man, those little fuckers was just so fast, and I was so fucking big. It's just, yeah, I didn't like it this time.
Not very conducive to, brawling the way that you are used to.
No, not quite. But hey, it's a good story to tell the little ones. And he motions to Missile.
Fortunately, Missile was totally unaware. He just smiles and raises his tankard at you.
Marcus was literally about to be who are you talking about?
There's one child in this whole story, and he was a street urchin. Or urchin.
Where are all the children?
Well, you can't give him stat blocks because you can't kill him, so...
Fair.
They grow up so fast in Moston.
Yeah, it's just instant adult. You're born full size. It's disgusting.
I heard that Marin captures the children and eats them.
This is the kind of rumors I like to embrace.
Yeah.
I knew there was something up with the guild.
Something about a pizza parlor, and I don't know. It was weird.
The more for every 5 conspiracy theories you guys come up with, one of them becomes true. I just start writing as if it were the case.
I always assume that the infinite food for the guild members came from the children, so...
Hey. It's a fair assumption.
Isolde's armor was made in a sweatshop.
No.
Yep. Think Pickanip's making all that shit? Absolutely not.
Pickanip is just powered by children.
Just a bunch of Callum Sham kids.
That explains the large windowless van parked behind Pickanip.
Even the name Pickanip.
I just imagine we're all very drunk right now, just making up conspiracies about the town.
So about this time, I imagine like Joe Hoff's tattoo finishes. He kind of stands up and like stretches a little bit, still kind of oozing blood a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty good. And like goes up, basically starts at the base of his neck and then runs down to about his waistline.
Dope.
Yeah, Cass, you know what? This might be your finest work yet.
Well, oh, that's not Cass. She just says, yeah, well, we got it on your backside, so if it's not like you'll see it anyways.
Yeah, it's a fair point, actually.
I was tempted about halfway through to just write, I'm an idiot. But, you know, the magic of the tattoo wouldn't really work if I started scribbling over top of it.
Yes, what does it do? These metallic elements there?
Yeah, well, if I understand correctly from what Cass has told me, I can use it to sort of bolster my strength, become a little bit harder to put down mid-fight, and she used some extra ink in there that might make it so that certain elements don't affect me quite as much.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it works. That part is yet to be seen.
Well, you can always test it out.
Cass kind of looks to you guys like, well, you can if you want. She turns to the rest of you and says, before the rest of you start lining up to get another one of these, just know it takes a long time and a lot of money.
Yeah, I am significantly poorer than I was earlier today. That is for sure.
Big P just goes, he blew his entire paycheck from Miliardo on this thing.
Looks like it was worth it, though.
Yeah, well, Cass here, she knows what she's up to, right? So, this dinner I'm supposed to go to, is this a sort of affair I should put a shirt on, Phil?
Yes.
Well, maybe I won't go then, it's hard to say.
We did see you in a fancy shirt once before at Vaudry's house. Quite good on you.
Yeah, it was the fucking worst.
Big
I
P
was gonna be
laughs
frank.
and just says, I think that tattoo qualifies as formal attire. It's worth more than most of those motherfuckers make.
That's what I'm saying, right. And if the Dark Master says it, it must be true.
That's how it works.
Well, given that you played such a pivotal role in saving the city, Joe Hoff, I doubt they'd turn you away if you didn't have a shirt.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. But hey, so I'm more to understand that you just don't plan to go.
Correct.
Oh, well, fuck that shit. I'm not going if you ain't going. Let's go paint the town red.
Sounds good to me.
Let the rest of these fuckers, and he gestures to the rest of the fair. Let the rest of these fuckers go do the difficult and boring stuff. Let's go get fucking drunk.
Ready when you are. Maybe we could fight in the blood pit and test out your new tattoo first.
Oh yeah, you heard about that. They fucking turned it into some kind of, like, you know, civilized boxing ring down there.
Well, it's important to keep up appearances, and in Big Pete's stature, I don't think that a fight to the death ring in the basement would be a very good idea for him.
Well, the mediator's business is the mediator's business, but yeah, I mean,